Hey everybody, AD Nightly right here at AD Nightly on YouTube. And search it on the RSS feed wherever you get your favorite podcast. You can hear AD Nightly week daily right here, whenever I get to it. Daily, week daily, that is, as I said. We're just going over the news cycle, kind of putting it all together. And of course, my opinions. What really matters these days are people's opinions, okay? Never forget people's opinions and how to honor them, and just believe that people's opinions are their own opinions and not necessarily facts a lot of times. So that's important too, kind of factuality. Important part of this show I try to make. Sure that everything I say and, put out there is factual. If not, I will definitely put some retractions out there. So, it helps. We're all in this together as far as, so many things, really. But especially when it comes to keeping the facts straight, so important that everyone's on the same page. And, really a lot doesn't matter besides that. So, I don't know. That's just my little philosoph to start. Read my Substack if you want more of the Ben Philosoph. Benilosophy. Working on it. But, yeah. I got a couple stories here tonight. Let's see. I'll start with this one from the APnews.com. Federal court blocks Trump. Federal court blocks Trump from imposing sweeping tariffs under emergency powers law. So I've talked about this a lot. Before on Apolitical Talk Show, we had a whole episode where we went over the emergency acts brought forth by presidents. And ever since, I think, the 60s, it's like every president has had more and more and more, just like the pardons and everything else. And it's just one of those, I mean, if slopes are slippery, then we are like at the bottom just trying to gain traction, I guess. Really bad. Really, really bad as far as these quote-unquote emergency acts and what they've led to. It's craziness. A federal court on Wednesday blocked President Donald Trump from imposing sweeping tariffs on imports under an emergency powers law, swiftly throwing into doubt Trump's signature set of economic policies that have rattled global financial markets, frustrated trade partners, and raised broader fears about inflation intensifying and the economy slumping. So the ruling from a 3-judge panel at New York-based U.S. Court of International Trade came after several lawsuits arguing Trump's, quote, Liberation Day, unquote, tariffs exceeded his authority and left the country's trade policy dependent on his whims. Trump has repeatedly said the tariffs would force manufacturers to bring back factory jobs to the U.S. and generate enough revenue to reduce federal budget deficits. He used the tariffs as a negotiating cudgel in hopes of forcing other nations to negotiate agreements that favored the U.S., suggesting he would simply set the rates himself if the terms were unsatisfactory. For now, these sweeping tariffs are stopped by a federal court, which is good news because it's already tough out there. It's just, I hate how in so many times in politics, it's like, well, this is a good argument to make, and you can convince people that, more jobs is better, which obviously it is. But at what cost? And, it's just, this is not the way to make that happen. There are other ways, and it's ridiculous. It's very annoying that it's just the lower and middle class who are really paying the price for these new jobs that they get to have. Say it like that. The lower and middle class are paying the price so that they can have an extra job. They're paying more to have a job. is what is fucking happening. So that's my opinion on it. As a person who likes having jobs, likes being gainfully employed, I wish I had 2 streams of income or 3. Yeah, you know what I do actually? I have a couple streams of income. You know the value of that. So, I'm all for working as hard as you can to get, what you can. And it's just what we can get for putting those 8 hours in is becoming less and less. I'm lucky to have found good jobs and fun jobs, so I guess consider myself lucky. But these tariffs are not great, and really terrible, lazy plan. Sad. KZRG.com has this story. This is an ABC 9 Iowa news affiliate. So half the families we serve are already skipping meals, says the Iowa Food Bank in reaction to Trump's proposed tariffs impact. So the story out of North Liberty, Iowa, Eastern Iowa food banks are saying more families have been turning to them for help over the last several months. The North Liberty Community Pantry has seen a consistent growing need since the pandemic, with the need growing more rapidly amid the Trump administration's fluctuating tariff policies. These tariffs have resulted in companies as large as Walmart raising prices. Food Pantry Director Ryan Bobst said about half of the families we serve are already skipping meals or reducing their food intake because of current state of the economy. Bobst's team has already served 54,000 pounds of food, more than this time last year, and has seen more than 150 new families. Many of the pantry's new visitors were already walking a financial tightrope. As the Bank of America Institute reports, nearly a quarter of households live paycheck to paycheck. Those families can be made unbalanced by volatile tariffs. All right. And this, I kind of try to stay away from these story, more in-depth type of ones. But, it's important to bring that out there, and it's everywhere. Personally, myself, I've had to fall back on, asking for some help here and there. I live in a basement. And yeah, even with food, I feel like I've definitely skipped some meals because it's like, save some money. And that's the idea behind it. It's not that I'm not hungry. It's just save some money. So really ridiculous. The dichotomy of paying to get a job and also not being able to afford food and also living in basements and, 5 families to a house type of stuff. It's not good. But this isn't supposed to be depressing news. It's just real. I'm not saying you can't have a happy, fun life with roommates. Why not? And it's 10 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, guys. Just wanted to point that out. Awesome. Love seeing the 1000 come across. No, not really. It means nothing to me. The time. Okay, but here's something that I had to, this is in no way something I'm proud or happy that I'm, had the ability to do, but a couple months ago, I started seeing these BJ Penn stories come out, and now he's been arrested two times. And I just want to reiterate, I understand it's definitely tricky when it's one person's mental health, and it's not like you could force them to get treatment or anything like that, but I'm just saying monetarily, if we could take care of this guy, he's worried about his family taking his inheritance somehow. I don't get it. I guess there's probably options so that he can't spend all his money or something like that. But man, someone figure it out for this this former UFC champion BJ Penn has been arrested twice in the past 3 days in Hawaii on charges of abuse of a family or household member. According to online records, Penn, 46, was arrested on Sunday and released on $2,000 bail, while he was arrested and placed on $1,000 bail on Monday, per online records. A video posted on his to his social media account appears to show police handcuff and escort him out of the residence during the arrest on Sunday. Penn, who retired from professional MMA in 2019, recently claimed online that multiple members of his family are missing, and he has accused unnamed imposters of replacing those family members in an effort to steal his inheritance. Last month, he publicly asked the Hilo Police Department to investigate their murders. And yeah, I don't want to, discredit anybody's, delusions, but that's what they are, and that's what I just did really quickly. And it's easy to be like that, to be flippantly like, oh, well, BJ Penn lost his mind, or even to go the opposite direction and say, wait, Berenstein Bears, conspiracy theories. Their teeth are different shapes or whatever, like he was pointing out. Like people's teeth do change shape. Like, that's what braces do. And, like, basically when you don't have braces, they move. They're all moving around, your teeth's. But, I mean, not like crazy, but you get what I'm saying. It's sad. And, again, I think just taking care of this guy on a day-to-day basis, whatever that takes monetarily, it's probably something that he himself should be able to fund. I mean, why can't you? How hard is it to not go nuts in Hawaii, man? Just like go surf and paraglide or whatever, man. Go see the volcanoes erupt. Listen to the last episode, the volcano erupted. That's cool. And yeah, it's just that. That's just what I want to say about that. Like, someone please take care of BJ Penn, or allow him to take care of himself. However, here's an interesting story for the last story. Harrison Ruffin Tyler, grandson of the 10th U.S. president, dies at 96. So you might have just glossed over that like many do. He's the 10th president. This is the grandson of the 10th president, which is just crazy. So 10 years, 10 times 4, or 7 times, 10 times 4 is 40 years, so around the 1820s, something like that. If my math's correct. Yeah, around the 1815s, 20s. This guy was president, and he was this other guy's grandpa, and he had just passed away. He was 96 years old. It's the last living grandson of President John Tyler, who left the White House in 1845. Okay, has died. Harrison Ruffin Tyler died Sunday at 96, according to the Anique Dunning, executive director of Sherwood Forest, the Virginia property that members of the Tyler family have called home since the end of its patriarch residency. Tyler had suffered strokes in recent years and died of natural causes. Saying, here's a quote about him, quote, his love of history and his birthplace, Charles City County, Virginia, led him to preserve both Sherwood Forest, President Tyler's home, and Fort Pocahontas, a Civil War fortification nearby. Dunning told NPR over email, quote, he will be remembered for his considerable charm, generosity, and unfailing humor by all who knew him. It's a little more about the president aspect. John Tyler was the 10th president of the U.S. and the first vice president to ascend to the presidency. He took office in 1841 after William Henry Harrison died just a month into his term. Tyler's 4 years in office were largely defined by his opposition to his own Whig Party, his controversial annexation of Texas, and staunch support of states' rights, and later the Confederacy. Tyler had 8 children, and his first wife, Letitia, who died of a stroke in 1842. 2 years later, he married Julia Gardner, a New York socialite, 30 years his junior. So, dude, Dude had a time. Let's see. Yeah, you know what? Just learn more about it. At the end of his term, Tyler and Gardner moved to the White House, from the White House to Sherwood Forest, about 27 miles southeast of Richmond. They had a total of 7 children before his death at age 71 in 1862. So the dude we're talking about made his name in chemical engineering. And despite you know what, I just said I wasn't gonna do these stories about like people and stuff. This is a different one. This is like history, you know. Well, yeah. So this guy has passed on. Oh yeah, he had slaves. Terrible. Okay, yeah, that should definitely be said. President widow Julia fled the property during the Civil War and returned afterwards to find it ransacked by Union troops and formerly enslaved people, including the Tyler family had owned. There were 43 enslaved workers in the property as of 1860, according to Sherwood Forest. After acquiring it in the 1970s, Tyler and his wife set about to restoring the 50-acre property, about half of which is open to public tours. Referring to letters and books his grandmother had used to decorate it originally, Sherwood Forest, which is now a National Historic Landmark, boasts the longest frame house in America, as well as a ghost named the Gray Lady. In 1996, Tyler purchased Fort Pocahontas, a Civil War fortification a few miles from Sherwood Forest. The National Register of Historic Places says the site was, quote, virtually untouched for over a century until Tyler bought it. It opens to the public for a reenactment one weekend every June. Okay, here's an interesting note, too. Tyler and his wife also donated $5 million to establish an endowment for the College of William and Mary's History Department in 2001 in memory of his father, but citing Lyon Gardner Tyler's views on Confederacy and on slavery, the department was renamed in honor of Tyler himself in 2021, who I hope had different views about that stuff, right? So, I mean, I understand that, I obviously just picked this story because it's like, I actually heard of this dude. It was like, a story a couple of years ago. Like, this guy is a or the grandson of the 10th president. And it was just, it was crazy. Someone being around from the Civil War era, their grandpa type of stuff. But, yeah, obviously, a very sordid history in America when it comes to slavery and all that stuff brings about a lot of emotions with people today, which I get. No one likes to think of people, their family, their ancestors, even if they haven't met them, being, in pain and in bad situations. So I get that. It's a bad feeling. But at some point, you got to be like, just live in the now. Like, I'm not saying this about everything, but there's obviously a large, long, thorough conversation to be had about race slavery and the effects of it. It's more than one white guy in his basement talking to nobody about, but there's a lot of psychology to it. So it is, and everybody deals with their own personal ancestry and history. So just kind of think of it that way if you can. I don't know. But I also wanted to piggyback off this with just a little honorary of my own. I lost Uncle Nick, great uncle, great love to my Aunt Kathy, and he also loved the Civil War. We would watch that damn Ken Burns Civil War thing, and the one with Jeff Daniels too, whatever one that was. Man, we watched those Civil War things almost every time we went to California. Like, that was on. Dude was a very very big history buff, and unfortunately, succumbed to heart problems, and just thoughts, prayers, love to my Aunt Kathy, and Uncle Nick has finally found peace. So, yep. So just love out to my family and anybody else dealing with stuff, things, loss, grief, I don't know, unrequited love, whatever it may be. I know I'm not available to be a lot of places, and maybe this isn't about me. I don't try to make this about me. So, again, love to my family, and anyone out there that can also subscribe to my Substack or let me know a place to live. That'd be cool. AD Nightly. See you tomorrow.